Though it's been over 3 years, Star Wars fans are still feeling the effects of the on-screen death of Han Solo, or as some of us call it, the day J.J. Abrams kicked our childhood in the balls. Welcome to D's Rants and Reviews. I'm your host, D. Let me start this episode with a confession. Despite my thuggish demeanor, the truth is I'm a bit of a nerd. I love movies, comic books, science fiction, and other nerd pastimes. And one of my favorite nerd amusements happens to be Star Wars. I've been watching Star Wars for as long as I can remember. I've seen the films countless times. And like most Star Wars fans, I was excited when The Force Awakens was released to theaters back in December of 2015. And while I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie, it was still a bit shocking to see a character the magnitude of Han Solo meet his demise on the big screen. And even with the adoration of critics and audiences alike, the death of Han Solo still remains a very controversial topic. But being a card-carrying 80s kid as I was, I understand how most 80s kids hold on to our beloved fictional characters. To many of us, they were an essential part of our childhood and very influential to us. So much so that weeks prior to the release of The Force Awakens, I went to the theaters to watch Creed, which is a spin-off of my all-time favorite movie and movie series, Rocky. And Rocky Balboa is my all-time favorite fictional character. And watching the trailer for Creed, they hinted at the possibility of Rocky dying in the movie. So I was a bit apprehensive to go watch the movie. But I did go watch the movie, and fortunately, Rocky did not meet his demise. And also, Creed wound up being a pretty damn good flick. So after seeing Creed, I was excited to see The Force Awakens. Unlike the prequels, which I did enjoy, but not nearly as much as the original trilogy, I was very enthusiastic to see this new Star Wars film. And that enthusiasm stemmed from the fact that the three main characters from the original trilogy were going to be returning to the roles that made them famous. This made it feel more like Star Wars, and no moment got me more hyped to see this new Star Wars film than when I saw this in the trailer.
Chewie, we're home.
Han Solo was back. Now, taking a severely overused 80s term, let's discuss the awesomeness that is Han Solo.
Yes, I bet you have.
From the moment that we saw him shoot Greedo in the cantina on Tatooine, Han Solo was the ultimate badass. And like all badass characters, he does the things we all only wish we could do.
Sorry about the mess.
Things such as responding, "I know," to a woman who had just told him that she loved him. We couldn't do that in real life. The moment you would say that to a woman, you would spend the next few months trying to find another woman. But Han Solo could not only say things like that, but have that same woman risk life and limb to rescue him from the vile clutches of Jabba the Hutt. Han also has a sidekick that, though physically stronger than he is, remains so faithful to Han that he would give his life for Han if the situation called for it.
Chewie!
And to top it all off, he has the most badass vehicle of all time. In a nutshell, he's the James Dean of a galaxy far, far away. Han is even so cool that he makes you realize what the main problem with the Star Wars prequels were. They had plenty of Jedis and lightsaber battles, but there was no cool, because Han Solo always supplied the cool. So when the second teaser trailer for The Force Awakens was released, and you see Han and Chewie board the Millennium Falcon, you realize Star Wars was about to be cool again. And as I watched The Force Awakens, it was indeed cool. Very cool. All up until that fateful moment when Han's punk-ass son pierces him through the stomach with a lightsaber and tosses his lifeless body off of a bridge. The backlash was immediate and severe. So severe, in fact, that many longtime Star Wars fans were in an uproar. I heard one story of a man who was so upset at the death of Han Solo that he made a sign that said they kill Han Solo in this movie, attach it to the back of his truck, and drove past movie theaters where people were waiting in line to see the film. And while I didn't like seeing one of my all-time favorite characters meet his demise on the big screen, as a fellow writer, I understand the necessity. It was done in order to develop the character of Kylo Ren. But while the writer side of me understands the necessity, the 80s kid side of me understands the outrage. As I said before, we get very attached to our fictional characters. And this type of outrage actually brought back a bit of memory that occurred 29 years prior to the release of The Force Awakens. Let's go back to the summer of 1986 and the release of Transformers the movie. Kids my age were excited to see our favorite toy/cartoon get the big screen Hollywood treatment. We were so eager to see the Autobots and Decepticons go at it on the big screen. And that excitement quickly turned to horror when 1/3 into the movie, they had the audacity to kill Optimus Prime.
Do not grieve. Soon, I shall be one with the Matrix.
And not just Optimus Prime alone, but damn near every character from the animated series we had grown to love. Now to them, it was strictly business. They had the new wave of Transformer toys hitting the shelves soon, and they wanted to take out the old so they could make way for the new. And no better way to do that than killing off the old line. But what they didn't take into consideration was how much we, the fans, loved the characters. Yet kids crying and running out of the movie theaters, parents were in an uproar at the fact that they had so much violence in a cartoon aimed at kids. I heard one story about a boy who locked himself in his room for 2 weeks after seeing the movie. Now, in order to fix the issue, an episode of Transformers was produced where Optimus Prime was brought back to life in order to appease the fans and parents alike, but the damage was already done. And until this day, whenever many of us 80s kids discuss Transformers the movie, the one topic that we constantly bring up is the death of Optimus Prime. So needless to say, it was a very traumatic time for 80s kids. And those same 80s kids grew up to be adults. And those adults are now the same type of fans who react badly to things like killing off Han Solo. It's just something you don't do. In the years since the release of The Force Awakens, they've done more to the fictional Star Wars universe. They've released some one-shot films, which I really enjoyed. They also released The Last Jedi, which is a sequel to The Force Awakens, where we were forced, for lack of a better expression, to witness the death of another iconic Star Wars character and arguably the most iconic Star Wars character, Luke Skywalker. And in what could be viewed as an attempt to make up for killing off Han Solo, they released Solo the movie, which is the story of how young Han Solo became cool Han Solo. The prospect of seeing someone other than Harrison Ford portray Han Solo, I was a bit apprehensive to see the Solo movie, but I eventually did, and I must admit I actually was shocked that I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie very much. It was a good movie, but it still wasn't our Han Solo. So in closing, I address the two warring parties, the new producers of the Star Wars films and lifelong fans like myself. To the producers, I understand the need to shake things up in order to push the story along and develop new characters. Just don't be naive to think that there won't be any friction coming from lifelong fans like myself. Many of us would rather that you have left the movies alone, as they are very near and dear to us and part of our childhood. But at the same token, I do understand that you now own the rights and you can do whatever you want to with your purchased property. Just be prepared for the firestorm that comes along when you And to the lifelong fans, mainly my fellow 80s kids and others, I enjoy these characters as much as you do, but I'm not lost on the fact that they're still works of fiction. They're fictional characters that were created for the purpose of entertaining us. And when we feel the need to be entertained by them, we can simply go back and rewatch those great movies. Yeah! As much as we may hate it, if Hollywood makes a decision to reboot a franchise or reimagine one of those great films, it's their prerogative. But at the end of the day, with things like killing off Han Solo and the reimagining of Ghostbusters, maybe Hollywood really should just leave our shit alone. Until next time.